Whoever would have thought this little egg would be gold? You know, the prices of eggs are outrageous, and that's even if you can find them. It's okay. I've got your back on this. I have 5 ideas for breakfast that pack protein. Some have carbs in them, some don't. But I think you're gonna enjoy, and I'm going to show you how you can substitute the almighty egg. So the first thing that we are going to do is a sausage, cheese, and drop biscuit. Now this recipe is from Pound Droppers. My mother-in-law gave me this recipe. She's always done Weight Watchers. I'm not a Weight Watchers girl, so I use some of this, but I kind of make it my own with real sausage, not turkey sausage, and full fat cheese. So let's get started. The first thing that we need is a cup of self-rising flour. Now, if you don't have self-rising flour in your home, that's okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take 1 cup of flour to 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And if you mix that all together, you have your own self-rising flour. So you do not have to go buy a $5.99, $6, $7, $8 now. I'm not even sure how much the flour costs, but you don't have to go buy that as long as you have your basics of flour, salt, and baking powder. So I do have a cup of self-rising flour. The next thing that we are going to do is I have 3/4 cup of full-fat Greek yogurt, and this is plain. So we are going to just mix this in. Make sure to get all of it off the spatula. Now my mother-in-law, she loves this recipe, her and my father-in-law. So we are just going to mix this all up. How many of you have chickens at home? I do not. I am a homestead by garden only, and I homestead in the suburbs trying to do as much as I can on my own without being dependent on the grocery store. I get this all mixed in. And this is a dough whisk. It is priceless. I love a dough whisk. Okay. Next thing we're gonna add, let me grab. Next thing we are going to add is a half a cup of mild cheddar cheese. And this one might be a little bit more than half a cup, but it was the rest of the block that I was trying to use up. I had like 1/4 cup of a block. And I'm gonna add that in. And then we are going to add 3/4 cup of sausage. Now the recipe says Jimmy Dean's full cooked turkey sausage, crumbles, which means it's processed and it's fully cooked, and I stay away from all that. So I just had some breakfast sausage, so that's what we're gonna use. I did fry it up and drained it. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. And then it calls for an egg. Well, we're not using an egg. So what are we using? We are going to use a flax meal egg. All right, so we've got that all done. So I have flax meal. Now, you can get flax meal relatively cheap. Most nutritious way is to buy the seed and grind it yourself. I do use that in a coffee grinder, but it is 1 tablespoon of flaxseed to 3 tablespoons of water. And it was funny, years and years ago, my husband and I were vegan, and I would make zucchini bread using this flax meal egg. And I looked at the price of eggs yesterday, and half, I mean more than half, our local store only had a quarter of the amount of eggs. So I'm just gonna mix this up. And then last week when I went to Aldi, you were only allowed 2 dozen eggs. Well, my teenagers, they need protein-packed breakfasts. If I just gave them a box of cereal or something like that, it would not bode well, especially for my youngest, who is like 6'4" and 140 pounds. He's so skinny and he just burns through food. All right, so we've got that mixed up, so I'm just gonna pour this in. So we're gonna use the Flax Meal Egg. And then we are going to make some drop biscuits with it. I do have my oven heating up to 400 degrees. And this is all coming together. The other thing this recipe calls for is an egg wash. Well, an egg wash to me is the worst waste of an egg. So I have a little bit of milk, and I'm going to try that first. All right, so we have our pan, and this is supposed to make 12 sausage muffins. And I am just going to bind it together there a little bit. It's like a drop biscuit with cheese and sausage. So my last video, I had asked what were some of the prices of eggs. And I was seeing $5, California was $9 from Walmart, $9 for a dozen eggs. And I'm like, you know what? We just have to get creative. A lot of people, especially when you're feeding a family, $9 for 1 dozen eggs, that's a lot of money. And, you know, if you have chickens, wow, you are lucky. You are very, very lucky. And then I do have some sausage left here, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. What are some other ways that you are saving at the grocery store? You know, the other thing I noticed last week, that one's a little bit bigger. We'll see. The other thing that I noticed this week when I went to the grocery store, I went with my husband yesterday, and it was the lack of whole chickens. I was like, oh no, here we go. Because they're calling all these chickens for the bird flu. I could actually make these a little bit bigger. Let me see what we can do here so that I have 12. They're nice and moist. They're really good, actually. I'm excited to taste these. Like I said, my mother-in-law loves them. I just don't adhere to the low-fat craze. All right, coming to the end. So yeah, we're gonna have a shortage of chicken. So if you find it, I don't even know if it's gonna go on sale, but if you find that chicken, please, by all means, pick it up, get it into your freezer if you enjoy eating chicken, because otherwise it is not gonna happen. All right, I am going to put these into the oven. We're just gonna pack some of this in. Oh, I do want to do the little milk. Let me wash my hands real quick. All right, so let's just take a little bit of milk, and I have a brush and I'm just gonna dab it on the top. So the egg wash is to help it brown a little bit. And I've done milk on baked items before, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try this over wasting an egg. Okay, I'm gonna put these in the oven for 15 to 18 minutes, and I will catch you back here when they're done. Okay, so my drop biscuits are in the oven at 400 degrees for 15 minutes, but I still had sausage left over, and I have 5 biscuits left over from last week. I made just canned biscuits to do some egg and cheese biscuit sandwiches for my kids for school. Well, they came home and we haven't had school. So they're not being used. So I thought, you know what? They are still home today. So I am gonna take the rest of the sausage and I'm gonna whip up an old-fashioned sausage and gravy that we can use up those biscuits for. And here's the thing, I love to make my own biscuits, absolutely love it. But the price of butter is expensive as well, and biscuits do take a lot of butter. When you need something fast or something quick, I was able to pick up these cans of store brand biscuits, and yes, they have some preservatives in it, I get it, but they were $1.99. That's less than the pound of butter. So I have the sausage in here heating up a little bit. And what I'm gonna do to that sausage is I am going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. I did drain the sausage for the other recipes, so we're just gonna add some fat back in. How many of you love sausage biscuits and gravy? I know my family does. We don't eat it too often, it is a treat, but you know, I had all this sausage left, so let's make something that these kids can eat today. All right, so I'm just melting the butter all around it. And I'm gonna pop these biscuits in the oven while the, at the last probably 5 minutes of the other biscuits baking so they warm up. All right, so our butter is melted, and I am going to take a 1/3 of a cup of flour. And just put that all, whoops, put that all around. I end up wearing flour. I am, yeah, I end up wearing flour, it's amazing. All right, we're gonna stir that all in so that the flour cooks. And then we're gonna add our milk. So out of 1 pound of sausage, we are actually getting 2 breakfast ideas, and that's how I like to cook. I like to conserve and yet not be wasteful. All right, so I am going to pour my milk in, and I'm gonna do it slowly. So the milk ratio is 3.5 cups. And I'm just doing the regular, I'm not cutting it down, so they have a little bit more gravy and a little less sausage. I don't see a problem with that, so I'm not cutting it down, just because I took out 3/4 of a cup of sausage. And let me kind of want to turn the camera so you can actually see the gravy coming together. So hang on for me. Let's let that warm up and let me get that. Okay. If you can keep if you're planning ahead, and you can bring your milk to a warmer temp, it does go by faster. Okay, and then it calls for 1.5, so 3.5 cups of milk. Move that out of the way. So what are some breakfast ideas that you are doing that doesn't involve eggs? I've done avocado toast, which I was going to show you. I have 2 pieces of sourdough bread left. I have a smoothie I'm going to show you, and then a protein shake. You know, when we were vegan, we used to eat tofu. I'm not a huge fan. I would rather make breakfast with meat options than tofu. And I found some ways to make it better, but I'm really not a fan of it. Kick this up a little bit. Just gonna keep stirring, let that heat up. And I am gonna add some fresh cracked pepper. And some salt. So this is an inexpensive breakfast, and it does feed a lot of people. And then I will adjust the taste once everything gets all warmed up. Put the last of the milk in. Wipe up my mess. Is anybody else a messy cook? I love it. I love to cook though. And I love to figure out things like this. Oh, by the way, with the Flax Meal Egg, I did not do this, and I should have. It all came flooding back to me once I stopped the camera to set up for this next thing. But when you're doing a flax meal egg, let it sit for a couple minutes, and it kind of expands and blows up a little bit. It'll be fine in the recipe, but just let it sit for a little bit if you're using the flax meal egg. So we're just gonna let that heat up a little bit, and I'm almost ready to put the biscuits into the oven. We have 6 more minutes on the biscuits to come out, and then we will be good to go. I'll share everything when it's all done. Okay, so here you go. Here is the sausage and cheese drop biscuit. They look amazing, can't wait to try that. And then these are our leftover biscuits with the sausage gravy. And we're just gonna pour this over. My son was absolutely excited when I told him, "Are you hungry? Because I have sausage, biscuits, and gravy." And he said, "Yes." I love that. All right. There we go. And there is still gravy, probably enough for 4 people in here, all with 1 pound of sausage, nothing with eggs. Okay, so maybe you don't like the whole meat issue or you don't want the carbs. This is another alternative. So this is called an anti-inflammatory cherry spinach smoothie. And I am substituting a couple things for this because I just don't have them. So what we're gonna do is we are going to use 1 cup of almond milk. Now the recipe says to use 1 cup of kefir, and that's what I don't have. But I thought I would use the almond milk, and then I am gonna throw a dollop of the Greek yogurt in there to give it the tang like kefir had. So we're gonna put the 1 cup into our blender, and then I am going to do a dollop of the Greek yogurt. All right. And then it said a 1/2 cup of spinach. I've got spinach to use up, so I'm gonna put the spinach in there. And I have frozen cherries, which I find I get my frozen fruit from Costco. You know, I had a subscriber ask if I felt Costco was worth it. On some things it is. I find frozen fruit here very expensive, but just in your smaller grocery stores. But when I can buy a big bag and I can portion it all out, it seems to work better for me. 1/4 of a ripe avocado, so we're gonna add that in there. And then it calls for a tablespoon of almond butter. I can get this out here. Get a good tablespoon. The oil has separated in my almond butter, always happens. That looks good. So add that in there. And then it calls for a 1/2 inch thing of ginger. I don't have any ginger right now, but I do have ginger root. So I thought I would put a pinch of this. Ooh, I tighten these jars down. I'm gonna put a pinch of the ginger root in there. Very good for our stomachs. Oh, that smells good. And then it calls for a teaspoon of chia seed. All right, let's blend. Now it will be loud, and I apologize. I'll see what I can do about tuning it down for you. All right. Let's see how this looks. So first impression, like I said, I've never made this one before. First impression is it looks brown. That's probably because I used more spinach than what the picture had. So you could make even more cherries, put that in there, less spinach, whatever you want to do. But let's taste it. Oh, that is good. That is really good. So if you're looking for something that packs protein but does not use eggs and you're not looking for all the carbs, these smoothies, they might be the way to go. Okay, so the next one we are going to make is a chia seed pudding, and we are adding some grass-fed protein powder to it so that we can up our protein intake on this. And I have to tell you, I do love chia seed pudding. It is so good. If you've never tried it, you might want to give this one a try. So what I'm doing is I am taking 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and I am putting them into small mason jars, just like that. Put that aside. And you can get chia seeds very inexpensively, especially at Aldi, if you have an Aldi near you. All right, so what we are gonna do is in my blender, really quick, it won't be as loud as the last one, but in my blender, we are going to mix up the liquid portion of our pudding. So, because I have 4 of them, I need 3 cups of milk. Now, I am using almond milk again. You can use regular milk. You can use coconut milk. Whatever you have, whatever you prefer, flax milk, any kind of milk product you can use in this. Will we make it to the end? Yay! Yes, we did. Okay. All right, so there's our 3 cups, and then we are going to put our protein powder. Whoops, see, told you I'm a messy cook. We are gonna put our protein powder into this mixture. And then we are going to put some vanilla in there. And we're gonna put 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay. And then we are gonna sweeten it with a little bit of maple syrup. So I'm probably just gonna put 2 teaspoons of maple syrup in there. I don't like things very sweet. I got off sugar a while ago, so I tend to only sweeten with honey if I'm eating it. Now, if the boys eat it, I bake with sugar. Okay, and then I have some fresh blackberries that I was able to get yesterday at the store for $1.88 a package. So I thought I would throw those in there. So we have our almond milk or milk of your choice. It was a half a scoop of protein powder. Again, I use grass-fed protein powder. And this is just vanilla bean. That way it mixes with everything. And then we put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup, and we're just gonna blend that really quick. Okay. Whoo, that frothed up. Maybe I need to let that come down. That really frothed up. Now, let me really quickly, so I don't make a ginormous mess, grab my handy dandy funnel, and we're gonna pour this really frothed up. And let me grab a spoon, and I'm just gonna stir it. So what happens to the chia seeds is they swell almost like a tapioca. And as that goes down, we'll be able, woo-hoo, to add more. Like I said, messy cook. It came out a little fast. There we go. All right, so we're gonna set that one aside. Looks like I have the ability to do many more of these, which excites me. And I'm gonna stir it up. The froth is coming down. So then I will just take my time and do some cleanup and let the froth come down a little bit more. I just wanted to get those blackberry seeds chopped up a little bit. And we'll add it to this one. My husband will enjoy this. He'll take it to work as a snack. I will eat it for breakfast. All right. So I am going to continue on, and I will show you the end product when we are done. Okay, so let me give you my opinion of this chia seed pudding. You can see the chia seeds are swelling up, which is what we want. The issue that I had with this, and I've always made chia seed pudding slightly different, but of course I followed a recipe that was the best chia seed pudding, and I didn't like how it frothed up. So I really had to wait till it all came down, but the end result is still going to be good, and the taste is good. So what I'm gonna do with this is I am just going to add some almonds to the top of it, sliced almonds, just to give it more of a crunch, but then also add a little bit more protein. So we're just gonna add that. And then what you're gonna wanna do at the end, when you're all capped and done, is you are gonna stick this in your refrigerator and keep it in there overnight so that it has time to chill and the chia seeds soak up all the liquid. Great, so there is a protein-packed, easy breakfast. You could take it on your way out of the door going to work. You can put it in your lunchbox. You can have it at home, and it's already done. Your chia seed pudding. Okay, so the last one we're gonna do is a super easy, just protein shake with peanut butter and half of a banana and my grass-fed protein powder. So I am going to use a cup of almond milk. You guys may say, she goes through a lot of almond milk. Every month, Kroger gives me a coupon for a free almond milk, so I'm taking it. And we just use it up. So we're gonna use 1 cup of the milk and a scoop of the grass-fed vanilla protein powder. I'm gonna put my banana in there and a scoop of peanut butter. This is a kid-friendly, just about a scoop, kid-friendly protein shake. You can add anything you want to these protein shakes. You can add almond butter and fruit. You can add, just get that peanut butter off my finger. You can add anything you want. You could add just fruit with your protein powder. You can add nut butters. You can add flaxseed, whatever you want to do there. Now this is just my NutriBullet. So I'm going to pop the lid on there. And this is one of those quick, throw together, protein-packed shakes. There we go. Grab a glass. And I'm gonna give this one to my other teenage son who loves protein shakes. There we go. Easy protein shake packed with 24 grams of protein plus the protein from the, let's see, with the peanut butter. So a scoop of protein, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is 8 grams. So you're adding 4 grams of protein to this. So this is 28 grams of protein. Doesn't cost us near as much as it does to cook eggs all the time. And all of these are just some options for you. You know, we all have to figure out how to navigate this world right now. And they said, Inflation could get worse in 2025, so what can we do to be creative and to substitute and take care of our families and even yourself? You know, that anti-inflammatory, which I'm still drinking because I've been working, this is really good. And to have an anti-inflammatory smoothie in the morning that isn't chocked full of sugar, that's amazing. So it's very good for you as well as very good tasting. Thank you so much for joining me at Pinebrook Homestead today. Again, my name is Marie if you're new here. If you are returning, thank you and welcome back. If you're new, would you consider subscribing? We do all sorts of things on this channel, especially since it's cold and we are locked inside. So if you enjoy gardening, frugality, and self-discovery, would you consider subscribing? We would love to visit with you again. Thank you so much from my home to yours, and I wish you all a great day. Till next time.